All right. So thank you so much for being here. I heard about you through the Idea Center. They told me a little bit about what you're doing, and I was like, man, I need to interview you. I want to know more about what you're doing. So let's start by, tell me about you, what you've been up to. But I don't think we should start yet with like the good stuff. Let's start with like the back, like behind. Like, let's go back in the day. You growing up, how was that?
Well, I am the oldest of 5 girls, so I mean, that should tell you one thing, that it wasn't easy, but it also gave me the opportunity to, grow along with working with my sisters on different stuff. And because there's so many of us, like, I think it's the opposite effect, that our family, unit is very strong. Me and my sisters, like, we're so cool. And I feel like I have a really good support system of family and friends around me. So, I don't know. I think I had a good growing up.
How were you in high school?
High school, I was cool. I wasn't like nerdy or anything, but I was smart. I got good grades. I can say that much. And
so you were cool, like a cool kid?
Yeah, I was a cool kid.
You had a lot of friends?
I did have a lot of friends.
I love how it was hard for her to say that.
Yeah, she didn't want to say it.
I didn't want to sound like it's like, oh yeah, I was cool.
It's okay.
Just an FYI, you can brag here. It's totally
You're in the JP Gautreaux Podcast.
The whole point of this podcast is
want.
for you to brag. Just so you know.
I'm not a bragger though.
That's what every entrepreneur says. And here's the thing. It's okay to brag. It's totally okay. And that's something that we have to learn how to do, man, because people teach us like, hey, don't brag, don't talk too much about yourself. But it's like, if you don't sell yourself, who's going to buy you?
That's true.
And we're in business, right? All right. So in high school, what were your plans?
In high school, my plans were to, I don't even remember. I had so many plans. I wanted to be a lawyer at one point.
Okay.
I thought I wanted to be a doctor. All of the
Why?
ideas that people...
Why?
Because that's what you were expected to do, right? Those are the type of jobs that you're expected to do. And, of course, because they pay pretty well as well.
So it was like a money thing.
Exactly.
And that pressure from society.
Of course. I mean, when you grow up broke, you want to make some money. Yeah. So,
oh, yeah.
For sure. And were your parents like pushing you to be a lawyer? Or was that something that you were like, okay, man, they're not telling me anything, but I think I got to do it?
Exactly. That's what it was. They didn't really say as much, but it was kind of one of those things where I think this is what they want me to do.
Right.
So just took it and ran with it from there.
Okay. After high school, what do you do?
After high school, I ended up, instead of going to school, I joined the military.
Why?
Because...
What was going through your mind at that time that you're like, you know what, should I go to school or should I join the military?
Well, so my mother got sick, and she has a fluid on her brain, so we were having issues. Like I said, I'm the oldest of 5 girls, so I joined because I wanted to make sure I had financial stability to take care of my sisters. God forbid anything would have happened.
Right.
And I felt like that was the best way to do it. Like, I couldn't do that working at some job, making minimum wage at that time. I think it was like $8.25 or something. I couldn't do that and take care of four kids,
Right.
So I wanted to make sure I was in a position. And like I said, I do have family, but I felt like it was my responsibility.
Right.
So I continued to, push.
Which branch of the military?
The Navy.
The Navy?
The Navy, yes.
And how was that? How was your experience?
Oh man, I'll tell you, it was up, it was down, it was good, but it helped me to grow and evolve and become the person that I was supposed to be, So, like I said, there are no mistakes. So,
what would you say is like one thing that you got from joining the Navy?
Oh,
like what do they teach you there that it's useful for you today?
Probably a lot of discipline.
It does teach you discipline, but that's not the most I got out of it.
What do you get out of it?
I got the ability to be able to act under pressure. My first duty station was a forward deployed duty station. So we were always on deployment, always on the go. And it was very fast paced. So it teaches you how to adapt. It teaches you how to be quick. And it teaches you, basically how to act in times of pressure. And I think that was one of the greatest things that I got from it, as well as the experience of being like around a very diverse crowd of people and understanding how to, portray yourself or how to speak to people and how to talk to people and how not to speak to people and not to talk to people, because you saw that as well. So
right. And the first thing I got to say is thank you for your service. That's something that people don't really like appreciate a lot. And I think that's something we have to keep in mind, that it's like you are literally like sacrificing your life to go serve our country and to protect us. So thank you for that.
Of course.
The other thing that I wanted to talk about is while at the Navy, what was your duty there? What were you doing?
Okay, so my designated rate was aviation ordnanceman, and
What does that mean?
aviation ordnancemen are the people who build the bombs and load them onto the aircraft before you get, the aircraft leave the ship.
Right.
So that was my designated job. I did that for a while, but I also took on a lot of different collateral duties. So I purchased supplies for my department. I ran the training program for our sailors in weapons department, because I was in weapons. And I did a bunch of different collateral duties. I was in quality assurance. I did a lot of stuff while I was in different and admin. I was also the admin coordinator for our department as well.
So I think that helped you a lot for your business.
Yeah.
It's like you're getting experience in a place that you cannot mess up. So
Exactly.
is it a lot of pressure to join the Navy and like it's a lot of pressure day to day, stressful? How is it?
Oh yeah, very stressful. And I think also at times it becomes I don't know, like you have a lot of repetitive days.
Right.
So sometimes it becomes very discouraging as well. But also, you have a lot of people around you that it makes the experience a little bit better. So that's another thing too. You get a really good family friends unit out of it as well. Most of us, we still communicate. I still hit them up on Instagram or Facebook or something, and we talk all the time, or even giving them a call. Like a lot of them are working on businesses. Some of them gotten out. So it's just, I don't know. I think I enjoyed that aspect of it as well. So it's not all bad. It is bad. Don't get it twisted. It's bad at times, but it's not all bad.
I see it more like a personal development thing.
Exactly.
That it makes you better. It makes you more disciplined. And I think discipline is something that people need a lot. And because, not everybody can just get it. You don't get something like that just by living. Sometimes you got to put yourself under pressure to learn new things.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So after you're done, how long do you serve?
5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
Okay. So after that, what happens?
So after that, I got out and I was fed up, honestly. I wanted something new. Like I said, it became repetitive. It was the same thing all the time. So I was just like, okay, cool. I want to get out and find something that I want to do. And besides, at that point, my sisters had gotten older. My mom was doing fine. The second oldest, she had just graduated from high school. So I'm like, okay, cool. I can get out now. Like everyone's basically grown at this point. So I did that, and I got a job working at a pharmaceutical company in the compliance department, where I ended up learning the opposite side of the procurement, where I was selling to the government at that point. And I was still unhappy. I wanted something that I just felt passionate about. I wanted to wake up in the morning and not feel like...
So what you're saying is that a paycheck wasn't enough?
It wasn't. It wasn't enough for me, at all. It wasn't enough. And that's when I went to go search for another job, because I thought maybe it was just that job, And I went to the Career Source website, and there was an ad that said, have you ever wanted to start your own business? And I was like, oh, I thought about this before. Because in high school, in the Navy, while I was there, I found little side hustles. So I purchased a sewing machine to sew on the different ranks when you upgrade. Yeah. So when people make rank, they would send me their uniforms and stuff and say, oh, can you sew this patch on? I'm like, yeah, come on, I got you. I had a small little ad on my Instagram, don't go to the next, come to me. I got you.
Smart.
Because so I've always done small side jobs and stuff to make additional money. Even in high school, I had 2 jobs. I was working at Foot Locker, and I was working at a clothing boutique in high school. So I've always done a lot of different things at once. So I was like, okay, cool. I want to try this program, and I signed up for. It's called Startup Now in Broward County. And it's with Career Source Broward and Broward College. It's a partnership with them. And I signed up for that program, and I went through it, the accelerator. Like I said, I did not know what type of business I wanted to do.
You just got in there, and you figure out as you want.
Yep, basically. I came up with two or three ideas. They didn't work out. So I had to pivot, and I completely pivoted to
You know what most people
ideas.
do when it doesn't work out?
What?
They quit.
Oh no, I couldn't. At that point, I knew a job wasn't gonna work for me, and I was very excited going through the course. So I was I can't give this up.
All right. So after you got into the Startup Now, how was that? The whole figuring out how to build a business, how to make money. How was that experience for you?
So that experience for me, it was a lot of research, which I don't have an issue with because I'm pretty decent with researching. I actually enjoy it. So for me, it was just basically about interviewing people. So that's what we had to do. We had to interview over 100 people to ask them, what do you think of this? If you're like my potential customer, would you use
Market
this?
research.
How much you pay? I'm like, what is this? And at the point, I was still getting, used to being a civilian. So me reaching out to people, like random people on
Right.
LinkedIn and asking them questions, like that was insane for me. So, so I think that was the hardest part about that.
But that was probably the best part and the
Yeah.
thing that is going to get you out of your shell. Because I've always talked about cold calling and cold selling. And I think when you do that, it changes your perspective. Like you stop being afraid of reaching out to people. And like I said before, I've gotten so many business deals by just picking up the phone and calling somebody that I've never met.
That's true.
And saying like, hey, how's it going? Can we meet up? Can we talk? And, you don't want to be too pushy, but you want to push enough
That's true.
so that they get your meeting, and it's something that I think everybody should do. And you did it there, and I'm sure that helped you out to get more comfortable with like pitching your business ideas to selling to people. And I think that's something everybody should be doing at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely helped me to realize what didn't work. And I
Right.
think that's way more important than figuring out what does.
Because your customers are going to tell you what you should be doing.
Exactly.
Here's the thing about businesses, okay? And business owners. They think they know it all. And what happens is that you're like creating this product for you. And it's like, oh man, it needs to be like this. It needs to be like that.
Oh, yeah.
But you're not buying from yourself, right? So people need to tell you what you should
What
be
you
selling.
need to do. Yep.
That's like filmmakers. I'm a filmmaker somewhere at heart, just because that's what I went to school for. And all these people making movies, they think that the movies are for themselves. It's like, I want this, I want that.
Yeah.
I approach filmmaking as a business guy. I'm like, what do people want to watch? And then I give them that,
Okay.
right? Instead of just saying like, I want to watch this, I want to see that, I want to see. It's like, forget about you. Like, okay, I get it. You got to be artistic and be a creative.
Exactly.
But give people what they want and you have a business.
That's true.
Because the movie business it's called the movie business for a reason.
It's a
You know,
business.
it's a business, and everything in life is a business. Like
Exactly.
people finding jobs, that's a business. And when you cold call, you learn how to get out of your shell, and then you know how to sell, right? So let's say you don't want to start a business for any reason. You want to have a job. You got to sell yourself when you go to that job interview.
Exactly. At the end of the day, it's selling.
So
I think I read
everything
that as
is
well.
selling. The same thing, relationships. You know that. let me go back a little bit. All right. So when you're a kid, when you're a baby, people don't know, but they're selling. When you want to convince your mom and your dad to let you go to a party, to give you food, you're pretty much selling.
Yeah.
You're saying, Mom, Dad, can we go eat here? And they're like, no. And then you have to find a way to convince them to go eat there. You know what I'm saying? So you're selling. You're selling the idea of like, hey, we need to go here because I did my homework, I did this, I did that, I got good grades or whatever. And that's selling.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about after that, after you did the whole pharmaceutical company job, what happened after?
So once we finish with the program, so the program it's like a 4-phase program. You go through training, you build a business plan, you pitch, and everything. So
About business plans, what do you think about them? Are they a necessity or are they not necessary?
I'm still on the fence about it. I feel like I was able to create like a full scope plan, and it forced me to question, the stuff that I wanted to do with the business and where, I plan to go, how much money I was planning to make. So it allowed me to create goals. But because things change so rapidly, it's insane to like continue to keep up with that business plan. And I find like myself trying to keep up with it like almost every month, and I'm like,
Right.
oh, like this has just changed. Like
So is it worth it to write a business plan? Yes or no?
Yes.
It's worth
Just starting out. Starting out, yeah, because you want to have like a vision, and if you have to pivot, then okay, I think. But just having a goal initially, or having an idea of where you need to be.
How
initially.
big was your business plan?
Oh, my business plan was like 50 pages.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's pretty long.
Here's the thing that I learned, and it depends on the type of person again. The business plans are really good to have because they give you guidance.
Exactly.
But it's a changing document.
Exactly.
It's alive,
It's
like it
always
changes every
changing.
day. But people think that they have to like follow through. It's like everything in the business plan. It's like at some point I just threw my business plan away and I'm like, you know what? Let's go. Let's just run. Now I like to do pitch decks.
Yeah, and a business model canvas. That business model.
It's
canvas
so much easier. Like,
yeah.
it's just the world is changing. It's making things easier.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it's even some of the startup competitions now, they're not requiring a full business plan.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, give me a pitch deck.
Exactly.
Nobody got time to read,
and I'm okay
to read
with
50.
that.
It's a lot easier.
I can hit those 12, 10 pages
That's
up real
it.
quick.
Done. All right. So after that, what happened?
So after that, I launched Gautreaux.
Which is?
It was not initially.
Uh-huh.
I wanna basically tell about my other two ideas too, because I went through like four different ideas through this program. And the first one was I wanted to create like a casting and molding company where, you know, pregnant mothers could go and get the belly casts or like the baby print. I wanted to do that, interviewed a few people, and they said no. It wouldn't work. Like it wouldn't be scalable. It wouldn't be, you know, something that you could, like you said, start it and then step back a little bit.
Right.
And so that didn't pan out. And then plus no one really wanted to pay for it. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me move on. So
Should
then
do beer belly casting. You know, it's like guys with beer bellies, just like
nobody wants that.
I don't think that was so well.
No, nobody wants that. And then so my instructor told me to, you know, think about doing it as a pop-up shop instead of trying to have like a location where you can have an event space and all this. It became like this large idea that I just didn't want to deal with anymore because it was so big. So she said, well, start doing it as a pop-up shop. And I said, okay, let's try to figure this out. So then I pivoted to creating basically an app to where you can find locations of pop-up shops.
Okay.
So then I found out there was a company that was already doing it, and they were just getting started, but they had already raised like $1 million to get this done. So I was like, all right, cool. Let's back up.
Here's what you do. You wait for them to try it, fail, and then you learn from whatever they did.
And they were just getting started. So I was like, all right, I'll put this on.
Sometimes it's not good to be the first one.
Exactly.
Let somebody else mess it up, and then you just piggyback on.
So I went back to my instructor. I didn't want to quit the class, but I didn't really have an idea that I was working on anymore. So she said, well, stick to something you know. Or do some, find something at home or at work that, you know, that you don't like or there's a problem with. So I said, okay, cool. And I went back and, you know, I was already tired of working. So everything was wrong at that point. But then I realized that the process of going through the procurement for the small businesses, it was complex. And then that's where Gautreaux was born. So
you found a problem and you said, you know what, I'm going to fix this thing.
Exactly. I'm going to fix this thing.
And that's what happens. But here's the thing with starting businesses, that people swear that you have to sit down and think for hours. Like, what am I going to do? What's a business idea? You know, when you find the best business ideas, just go through life. And you're going to find something that you're going to be like, this can be better.
Exactly.
Let's fix this thing.
And now that I see how simple that was, and anytime anything happens, I kind of just, you can create something and I put it in my phone. I'm like, all right, I'm going to table that.
One day,
come back later. Exactly.
You know, that's a problem that I had, that I was like, you know what? Oh my God, I should start that. And then I will start and it's like, okay, I don't have time. You know, it's like, just write it down somewhere. One day you'll
exactly. Come back to it. So that's what I plan. I have done like in the last few year or so actually. So I have a list of ideas that I want to have.
How many times a day would you say you write something down that you can improve?
Woo. Okay. So, but I think it's because I'm learning consistently. So let's say 3 times a day. Sometimes it's
good.
way sometimes it's like 10, 20. Like it's insane because like I said, you're consistently learning something. So.
How important do you think learning on your own is? Just because, for example, people think that you have to go to university to learn about business, and I honestly don't know why they have business degrees. Okay. I think that they might be pointless. What do you think?
I think at one point they were good though.
I think they're good if you're gonna run somebody else's business.
That's what it's about. It teaches you how to run someone else's company.
Like, you know, but there's a lot of entrepreneurs trying to go and get a business degree. Like, all you're doing is getting yourself ready to run somebody else's company. Yeah. Because entrepreneurship can come from any background. Exactly. Look at you. From the Navy into entrepreneurship. From filmmaker to entrepreneurship. You know, it's a business after all.
It is. And I would say, like, I would agree with you because I have a bachelor's in business management, which I got while I was active duty. But
So wait, hold on. So how do you get it?
I took classes online while you're on like the ship. So it's kind of crazy. People don't really know this, but while you're on deployment on the ship, they fly instructors out. So you have instructors from certain colleges that are on deployment with you. Yeah. So I'm taking classes like in
That's pretty
between
cool.
shifts, and we were like 12 on, like so
Right.
12 on, 12 off. So in the midst of those 12 off, I was going to classes on the ship or doing homework. Like it was crazy. But
So
yeah,
while you were in the Navy, you got your bachelor's degree.
yes.
And people find an excuse for everything, man. People are like, "Oh, I can't study because I have a job." It's like,
Yeah, look at Jenny.
yeah, it's like Jennifer. We interviewed her the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and she's traveling the world dancing with Pitbull, doing a bunch of tours and a bunch of music videos,
Mm-hmm.
and she got her bachelor's degree online.
Yeah,
And she had a
see?
high GPA. She had like
It's
a
too
3
easy.
point
Yeah,
something.
it's
3.9
like
or
it's just
something.
everything is changing, and if people don't get up to date with how things are working now,
Exactly.
they're gonna be left behind.
Exactly.
So tell me more
Exactly.
about your bachelor's. You got your bachelor's. You went full on into like school and work at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Oh, after that, I mean, I think I did that while I was in the Navy. So I think
how was
after.
it? Was it difficult for you to manage both, homeworks and all this stuff
Oh,
while
yes.
working?
It was very difficult. But I think it was a little bit easier for me because I was able to do some work like in between because I had all of these different collateral duties.
Right.
So if I was missing, nobody really questioned it. They were like, "Oh,
Right.
she's working." Like, yeah, I'm working on my homework. Like, so I think that was one of the reasons it was a lot easier for me to get like my work done as well. But it was complicated. But the instructors, they understood that, like I said, we were 12 on,
Right.
12 off, and if we had to go into, general quarters where
Right.
that's when the ship, like, we're in the ship, we're manning up every station, all
Did you guys
mounts.
had a scary moment at any point
Yes.
where you thought like, oh man, this is it? If you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yes, we have. And I think we were out, and there was a submarine following us. And we went into general quarters mode at 2 a.m.
Hold on, I don't even know if are you allowed to talk about this?
Yeah. I didn't say what kind of submarine or where it was from, but it was insane. It was at 2 a.m. and we went into general quarters because so we do general quarters like every week to
Right.
keep us like up to speed and
sharp.
But at 2 a.m.
Right.
Oh, this is real. Like, it's going down. It's going down. So everyone was like, we were manning everything up, but we were talking to each other like, I cannot believe this is really happening because you do it so often.
Right.
It seems like a joke,
Right.
And man, that was the craziest. I was like, well, tell my mom I love her. Like, so like
I have a somewhat stupid question.
Okay.
Do you guys not watch the Titanic on the ship?
No. No. I mean, we do have like movie days, but stuff like that doesn't come on. Like, I don't think it's the best time. They turn out movies like Valor, and we have funny movies that come out sometimes, but try to keep the spirits, the morale of the ships.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely not Titanic.
Yeah, that's not a good movie to watch while you're on a ship.
And it was an aircraft carrier, so we had over 5,000 people on the ship.
Wow.
So watching something like that, it wouldn't be good for anybody.
And how's the dynamic when you're on a ship? Like, what does it feel like? Does it feel like you're like on land, just normal? Like you walk from here to there? Normal?
When you first get on the ship, like they call it like sea legs, where the ship is rocking,
Right.
And but eventually you adapt, you get used to it. Like that first few like days you're on the ship, you get seasickness or whatever,
Right.
and after that, like it's pretty good. You don't even realize it at some point. I'll tell you, that's the best sleep I've ever gotten though.
Really?
On the ship, oh my god! Like, and the racks was like small, and the beds were a little small, not as comfortable, but the best sleep I've ever gotten on the ship on deployment.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So you started your business. Tell me the name of the business and what you guys do.
Okay. So GovLiaise is a combination between government liaisons, and it's a business to government marketplace that allows small businesses to create one profile, one time to register and do business with multiple state and local government entities.
People think that it's very difficult for you to work with the government.
It is.
And right, but because there's a lot of regulations, there's a lot of
Exactly.
red tape that you have to go through. And what you did was just simplify the whole process.
Exactly. Especially at the state and local levels. Like the processes it's a decentralized system. and everyone wants to do something different.
Right.
Everyone wants to be different. So creating this, we wanted to, keep that in mind for the government agencies to allow them to maintain that individuality
Right.
while also creating something that's central for small businesses to enter in a market and make it easier for them because so often they'll say, or the government would say they don't have enough small businesses participating.
Right.
But you're making it so hard, nobody wants to deal with
exactly.
it. So
give me an example of something that a small business can provide to the government.
okay, so let's think about the government in the sense of a business because essentially that's exactly what it is. Everything that you use for your business, phones, laptops, paper, toilet paper for the restroom. If you have a meeting or an event or something, maybe they need catering.
Right.
So anything that a small business could provide, the government could potentially purchase from them. So there's no spectrum of what products or services they purchase because they purchase a wide range of stuff.
Right.
They don't do their own maintenance. They don't change their own light bulbs. They don't mop their own floors. Like these people work, they come to do their job and they leave and go home.
Right.
So that could be a job that any small business could take advantage of.
Man, and that's
So many opportunities.
Right.
Exactly.
And, like I said, it's like people think that, like I know it's difficult to do business with the government, but it's like they think, oh, I'm too small to provide a service to the
No.
government.
I
It's
feel like that's who you need to try to do business with.
you just mentioned a bunch of different jobs that you can be doing, providing service to the government,
Exactly.
and products. All right. So how was the whole? How do you come up with the idea? And I know you told me that moment sparked that idea, but like, how was the process of building that business?
Okay, so after I came up with the idea, I went back to the marketing, the interviewing, the research marketing,
Right.
and I would interview small business owners and government purchasing officers, procurement managers as well. And I would ask them different questions about what would make their job easier.
How do you reach out to these people? Because I know it might be a little weird to be like, hey, I have a couple of questions to ask you. They're like, is this the FBI? What's going on? How do you reach out to them?
So that was another thing. So through the program, they taught us how to leverage LinkedIn.
Right.
So I would reach out to a lot of people on LinkedIn, or I would just sometimes call like the government agencies or stop by a small business and just ask them a few questions. Ask them if the owner was in and ask them about these processes.
When you went to the small businesses, you like approach them with like a black suit and black sunglasses?
No.
That would be really weird. Imagine. I'm here to do some marketing research.
Yeah,
Quick question. How many people do you reach out to through LinkedIn?
I stopped counting because some of them didn't respond. So when I didn't get a response, I had to move on to the next one.
Give me a number.
Let's say maybe 300 people.
So you reach out to 300 people. All right. What percentage of them said, yeah, sure, I'll talk to you?
I interviewed I actually did over 150 interviews.
So 50-50.
Yeah. It was pretty good, actually.
You know
Not
how-
everyone was.
Of course.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to expect. That's why volume is a great thing.
Yeah.
Because if you get a big volume, then it's like, hey,
Exactly.
I got 150. That's a 50%.
Exactly.
And, because people try 6 people and then they're like, oh, they said
didn't
no.
work.
So that's it. I'm done. Market research. Sorry, guys. I tried to do it, but it didn't work.
I know some people, like, when I asked them questions, they thought maybe I worked for their job and I was
Right.
trying to investigate them. So I'm like, it's not that serious. But I could understand it. So I just moved on. I was like, well, thank you for your time. And I
Right.
just left it at that. But
Oh. All right. So you started your business. When you started your business, were you at the Startup Now?
yes.
So you started there. And then from there, what happened?
So from Startup Now, it was about developing a plan to go to market and how to develop, because it was a technology platform and I had no technology experience. I did not know how to code. So a lot of this stuff, like I had to learn this stuff and try to partner up with people who would be able to handle it for me.
Weren't you afraid that they're going to have to take 50% of your company?
I mean, initially I was.
Everybody.
But then I was like,
It's like,
you know what? It's this or that. you know?
exactly. And that's what people don't understand. It's like most people would rather not do anything just because they don't want to share 100% of nothing
See?
instead of getting, like I want to get 75% of something, or I'm okay with 10% of something.
Exactly.
But most entrepreneurs are like, no, you got to sign an NDA and I don't want you to know my business. It's like, just talk. Nobody
Yeah.
cares about your idea. Nobody's going to steal your idea. And if they do, hey,
Exactly.
maybe they were smarter than you.
Hey, but at the end of the day, like, what's meant for you is for you. Like, I saw this
course.
quote the other day that said, I can show you my hand and still win. Like,
course.
it's true. Like, at the end of the day, it's all about execution.
Exactly.
So maybe you took this and ran with it, but you didn't have the knowledge that I had to
Right.
make it what it is and make it different from all of these other.
Of course.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So that, like, stuff like that, now I'm just like, when I hear people say that, I understand it because I was there.
Right.
But I'm also like, listen, boo, nobody wants your idea. Like, I don't.
I remember because when I got out of the startup challenge and I built the business and everything, I went back to a couple of startup competitions as a judge.
Yeah.
And the students were like, yeah, I need to. You guys need to sign an NDA before I tell you my idea, or like all these things. And I'm like,
I'm busy. I don't want to do
nobody
that.
cares about. And here's the thing: if I find somebody else with your same idea, I'm gonna invest in them. Like really, like I don't care that I heard that idea before. What people care about is it's not even the business actually. It's the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You know, if you have experience, and I know that you are been great at what you do. Whatever idea you come up with, I'm gonna support you.
That's true.
A lot of people, like, I get it. The idea has to be good. An investor's not gonna invest into like random stuff that doesn't work. But if you have, proven that you know what you're doing, that you're gonna put in 130,000%,
Exactly.
then don't invest in you. You know, once you build those relationships, you can always go back and be like, hey, I need more money. So all right, tell me more about that. You got a partner, somebody who's techie, right? How did that work?
Okay, so I've actually been through that one before. So the first one, we worked out for a little while, but he had a job that he was working on, and I was trying to basically like, okay, can we get this done?
Right.
I was anticipating it because I wanted to basically go to market and start selling because I didn't have, like at the time I wasn't working.
That's very smart.
So that's what I wanted to do. And, it was taking a little bit longer. And I kind of basically was just like, okay, cool. Like, I'm sorry, this isn't working out, but I need to outsource this to get like, to get it done. And outsourcing still ended up taking a long time, but it's a huge platform. And I had to realize that because I had to teach myself how to do some of the coding as well. So I learned through like Instagram and W3 schools, like Free Code Camp, like all of those different free.
There's a bunch of free resources to learn how to do everything.
Completely.
But here's the thing: I learned how to code. I forced myself to learn how to code.
Yeah,
I'm not a coder. I will never like do anything for anybody. But I learned the basic codes just so that I can like write a website. Or I even started learning PHP. I don't know why, but because entrepreneurs think that when they think about an idea, they can do everything. Yeah. So we're like, I'll learn how to do this, and I'll just like code everything. Yeah, and then you're like, you know what? I'd rather get somebody else. I want to get some, but at least you know something, so you can communicate with it, whoever's coding your app.
And that's why I thought it was important as well, so that way I'll be able to like see it in the Git repository.
Speak their language.
Exactly, and understand. Okay, I saw this was changed, like da da da. So I thought it was important for me to learn it for that, but after I realized what it took, I was like, I don't want to do this.
Let an expert do it.
Exactly, like better. You'll get it done faster. It won't take me like 3 months to create one line of code. Like, so just do this.
So how do you outsource?
So I ended up finding a team on Upwork. So
I love Upwork.
Definitely using those not free, but definitely using those like freelancing resources.
Right. Freelancers are the best thing. And that's the future of the economy. It's the gig economy.
I love it. I feel like it gives people the opportunity and more
it gives you flexibility. As a business owner, you want to control your budget. You want to control you want to control everything, So I think websites like that and services like that allow you to keep track of how much you're spending, have a budget, figure out if you need to change someone, you can change them very easily, and that's the best thing for a business. I use that a lot too.
Yeah, I like it. I enjoy it. Upwork, like
Fiverr,
any of those. Even they have like the actual like I think it's like Task or Tackle. I use all of those different services. Like,
of course.
just because I feel like it's giving someone else the opportunity. I could easily go out and like try to do this myself, but
let somebody who's doing this every day do it.
Yeah.
It's Fiverr, man. Yeah. I love Fiverr because graphic designers, people that went to a graphic design school that paid $55,000, $60,000 to go to school for this, they hate it because they're like, wait, so for $5 you get a logo, and these people are charging $500, $1,000 for a logo. If you're a business owner, go on Fiverr for $5.
Exactly, especially initially. Like maybe later on, I'll invest in that.
Well, the Nike logo cost wasn't like $30.
Get out of here.
Hold on, I'll tell you right now. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, I think the person who made that logo got the short end of the stick.
No, she actually got a bunch of stock after I won the company.
Oh, really?
So, the first time it cost $35. Wow. That's how much it paid.
What year was that?
Okay, you're asking too many questions.
Well, I mean, because $35 now is not the same as it was
true.
20 years ago.
Okay, but still, like, it's not $1 million. It's not $1,000, $100,000, All I'm saying is that design is very important.
Yeah.
but all those graphic designers, all those filmmakers out there, all those creative people are saying like, hey, like you better watch out because these people are coming for your jobs. And most of the people doing this stuff on Fiverr
are learning it by themselves.
They're not professionals.
Exactly.
They watch 3 YouTube videos and they're good at it.
Oh, I can do this.
That's it. You know, I learned how to make websites by watching YouTube videos.
Same.
And that's it. I'm making websites. I don't have to rely on somebody else. I mean, now I have people to do it, but at first I had to make all the websites, you know? So freelancers.
Yeah.
I'm with it.
We should coin a new phrase, something along the lines of, I learned how to live in 2019 because of YouTube.
Yeah.
I learned on YouTube how to live in 2019.
I call it YouTube University. And, you know, it's free tuition and you can learn whatever you want.
Yeah.
No, like it's crazy, but I learned how to braid on YouTube.
That you can learn anything.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Right, see?
There's no reason for you to not know something. If you don't know something, it's because you're not interested in it.
Yeah.
You know, like if you want to learn about stocks, you don't have to be like, oh, I wasn't rich growing up. It's like, go on YouTube.
Exactly.
You learn everything about it. You know, like you get 30 years of experience by watching 3 YouTube videos.
Yep.
It's crazy.
That's true.
All right, I went on that.
On the crazy rant.
On the crazy rant.
That's an Instagram post. Maybe.
You know it. Anyway, so you started developing the developing process, and how was that like?
Oh, it was long. And
what do you mean by that? How long did it take?
It feels like it took. No, it feels like it took an entire year. It was possibly maybe 8 months.
Did you have an MVP before you started?
Yeah, I did have an MVP, but I wasn't monetizing on it.
Okay.
I wasn't that smart about it. I was, like you said, focusing on, okay, we have to have this to go to market.
Right.
We have to have this to go to
Hold on.
market.
For everybody that doesn't know what an MVP is, an MVP is like pretty much your minimum product that you can build. It's like something that's very, like pretty much not even usable at this point. It's like, here's an idea, you know, test it out, see if you can like make money off of it, and then start building on top of that. Because people think that they have to have perfect before they go to market.
That was me.
Just go, man. Launch a website and have you heard the story about Airbnb?
Yes, I have. I actually did I researched their case study and everything.
Man.
Yeah. So, and you don't realize this stuff until afterwards, though. I think that's one of the things. While you're going through it, you're basically just trying to, okay, I got to do this. Like, or I can't. And you make so many excuses. My excuse was, well, because I'm working with the government, it has to be perfect. You know, or because I'm working with small businesses and I'm asking people for money, like, it has to be perfect. And that's where you get stuck on, like, perfection.
Perfection doesn't exist, so stop trying to create it.
Look, I know now.
I'm gonna say that again for my Instagram post. Perfection doesn't exist, so stop. There's like a little beep that you can put right there. Stop creating it. Man, people look for perfection, and it's like it's impossible. So it doesn't matter how hard you try, you're never gonna get there.
Exactly.
And what happens is that you start like saying like, no, I gotta wait for it to be perfect. I gotta wait. I know this little detail, this little feature, and then it's like, hey, you took 3 years to go to market, and then there's 3 other companies out there already
doing it. Exactly, because all of a sudden, like, they're popping up out of nowhere.
Of course.
Yeah. We have a really good differentiation as to what makes us different from these different companies. But, you know, I could have been, you know, doing a lot more. And now that I know, I'm implementing and executing a lot more. So it's making it a lot easier for me now. But before, like, I definitely got hung up on that perfection side of it.
Right. And it just... The story about Airbnb is that they decided one day, it's like, hey, what if, I think there was like a festival or something in San Francisco, and they wanted like, hey, what if we just like put an ad, you know, on Craigslist, I think they put it. I should look that up because then it sounds like I'm talking crap, but I think this, you know the story? It's like they started on Craigslist. They put an ad saying like, hey guys, we have an airbed and in this room. And it's like, you can just, all the hotels were booked. So they're like, hey, you know, like we have space for you. And a bunch of people started saying, like, I need it. And they're like, hey, maybe we should start a business on this. Exactly. And that's how Airbnb was founded. And now it's like a $25 billion company.
Exactly.
That's so crazy.
And they didn't wait for their app to be perfect. You were saying that development took about
8 months.
8 months?
It took almost 8 months.
And how was that, like, the whole process? Were you...
Stressed. I was just really, like, anticipating everything being done. Like, I wanted it to be done.
Is it a crazy amount of money to have this developed?
Like, I mean, it was money that I didn't have, so I mean, yeah.
So how do you come up with this money?
So I ended up putting in some of my own money, and then my family ended up raising some money for me as well.
So what that means is that tap into your network.
Yeah.
There's people with money everywhere, and they don't have to have crazy amounts of money.
Because everyone raised like $20 here, $100 there. Like it was nothing.
It adds up.
Exactly.
It adds up. And people think that, oh, I need to get an investor. It's like, start with your parents, your grandparents. Grandparents always have money. I've noticed that. Have you noticed that? It's like they always got money.
For my friends, yeah, I feel like I've had friends growing up that would ask their grandparents for money quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about $1 million. I'm talking about like they can give you $500.
Right, they have some expendable.
They're always like saving money somewhere. It's like, yeah, grandma.
Yeah, I know for me initially, like I wasn't doing it because everyone's working paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
They're doing this, they're doing that. So I wasn't asking anyone
Right.
to do anything. And my mom ended up asking, and like it wasn't a lot of people, but
Right. But
just
it
donated
helps.
whatever they could. And I put it together with what I had, and then we start moving a little bit
So
more.
this is what you gotta do. When you make, this is what I would do. Okay, so if you raise like $20 from here, I make the first $1,000. I give him the money back, and then it's like whenever you make $1 million, I'm sorry, that's it. I give you your money back. We're good. We're even now. Just because imagine people come back now. It's like, hey, I own 10% of your company. I invested $20 back in the day. That'd be pretty interesting. You imagine?
No, I think for me, like, because of the relationship that I have with them, like, it's my family.
Of
so
course.
regardless of where I am in life, like, I'm definitely going to help them out, break them
course.
off for what they help me with. Because people, like, I say this every single day of my life, because people don't have to help you with
Right.
anything. Like, so anytime someone goes out of their way to do one thing for you, or they even just shout you out on like
Right.
Instagram or something, like you guys reaching out for this podcast,
Right.
I'm like, this is amazing. Like, this is grateful. Like, I'm very grateful. This is something that no one had to do for you.
Of course.
And I don't expect people to. So I think that's one of the biggest things
And
for it too.
that's something that happens a lot with millennials is that they expect a lot.
Yeah.
They think that they deserve. It's like, you don't deserve anything. You haven't done anything. It's like, if you don't deserve anything at all, like, even if you're the best person on earth, I don't think you deserve anything. I think you got to work for everything. It's like, I don't think I deserve anything at all. That's why I'm still working, It's like, I don't deserve to sit down and just say, like, I deserve something. It's like, no, you don't.
And I think it also depends on how you look at things and how you look at the world as well, because some people probably see it as, oh, we're supposed to be helping each other.
Right.
And when you have that mindset, yes, it feels like we're supposed to be helping each other. There's nothing wrong with thinking that.
Of course.
But when you add that to expectation,
Yeah.
that's where it becomes harmful to you.
That's why I
And
have no
think that's what
expectations
it
of
is.
anything.
Yeah.
It's like somebody can mess me up tomorrow and I'll be like, oh, well, it happens. It's
Yeah.
life. That's it. I'm not going to sit down and cry about it. I'm just going to keep moving.
Yeah.
And that's
So-
something we have to learn how to, like, get rid of.
Yep.
Because we're born with it, Like, we expect too much. It's like, oh, man, my friend did this.
Exactly.
Now I'm like, it is what it is,
Hey,
Like,
yeah.
move on.
Because at that point, it's already done,
Of course,
Like,
and that's it.
it's insane.
And you know that it takes a certain mindset for people to be successful. And people think that it's a skill, that it's being smart. I don't think so. I think it's just a change in mindset.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't born in this country. I came here like everybody else, looking for a better life with my parents. I'm thankful that they brought me here. It's like they put me in a different position that I can do something with my life. Even though back home I could have done something, but it wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah.
Here the United States is the biggest country in the world, and it's the best country in the world.
Yeah.
And I feel American. This is my country. I love this country. I will do anything for this country because it gave me an opportunity that I didn't have in my country. So when you come here, we had to hustle. We had to struggle. We have to go through everything. And I think going through that was the best thing that ever happened to me. I would never change it. I would not say, Mom, Dad, I wish you would have been rich or, had a lot of money. I love it the way it is.
Yeah.
It's like every day that I wake up and I have to work for money, it's like, damn, I'm
It's
doing
not
it.
until you get to a certain place to where you can actually appreciate
Right.
that, because
Right.
if you're still dealing with, we didn't grow up in like no nice neighborhood.
Right.
We lived in the hood.
Right.
Like my mom worked at, wherever she could. My family was doing whatever they had to
You're
do
surviving.
to survive.
Yeah.
Exactly. So once you actually get to a point to where you can look back and say, dang, like I had everything against me.
Right.
Like I wasn't even supposed to be here
Of
at this
course.
point. And you can take that and be extremely grateful for it. That's when you can see it. But for the people that are still dealing with it or they haven't had that transition,
Right.
it's still an issue for them.
That's
too,
why
so.
I always go back, and I go back to schools. I go back to sometimes to my own country. I go back and I
Exactly.
want to tell people, it's like, hey, I know you're here now,
Look at me.
but it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be like that, you know. And all it takes is a change in mindset.
And also being able to see people too. So for you going back, like yesterday, I had the opportunity to be a part of a industry day at one of the local high schools, and it's a predominantly black high school. So it felt so great for me to be there because I am nowhere near like the top level of, you know, rich people.
Right.
I'm not even really making money right now. But for me to be able to be in a growth stage to where I can go back and tell them, hey, you know, I was right here. You know what I'm saying? I'm not where I'm gonna be later on, but it's the progression that you take, and I think that
I
representation.
love the process.
Yeah,
It's not
the
about the end
process.
goal. It's about the process. Because here's the thing: doesn't matter how bad you mess up,
Yep.
and if you keep going with that same mentality in whatever you're doing, you're gonna be successful.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like you might
Exactly.
fail, and your business might go, you know, away.
And
but
guess what I'm gonna do? Pick
go
up me
back.
something else and keep going.
Exactly.
You know, so
Exactly. So it's a mindset.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
not like I'm not a multimillionaire.
No.
You know, it's like, hey, but I know that I'm going in that direction, and it's, you know, it's that like it's a mindset.
Yep.
That's what I think. And what would you say to a 12-year-old that is right now like thinking like, hey, maybe I don't have to live like this? What would you say to them?
I would tell them that you don't. I'm like, you started here, but this isn't where you have to finish. And that's one thing my high school principal used to always say: it's not where you start, it's where you finish that counts.
But because I've heard a lot of when you're young, a lot of people tell you all this stuff, and you're like, shut up, you old guy, you don't know anything. But it's like now that I'm older, it's like, damn, you were right. You know, what do you think? What is the problem with younger people? People like you, for
Okay.
example. I talk a lot about people like me. Okay, people that are immigrants, are from my country, Hispanics, and then it's like I tell them like, this is the problem with us that we're thinking a certain way, and that's not the right way to think. You know. A lot of them think that they have to clean homes for a living. It's like, yes, that was back in the day. Not anymore.
Yeah, it's different.
We can change that. You know, it's like, I don't want to get into like the political world, but you get what I'm saying? It's like someone like you, all right? What will you tell them? It's like, what is that they have to change that mindset, to move forward?
I would say expose them. Like I would say try to get out and be around different crowds. Like expose themselves to something new, something different that they wouldn't normally see at home or at school.
Right.
And as well as like researching, like taking advantage of resources, because that's one of the things.
Free resources.
It's so many resources that we don't know about, or we because it's not right here in your face. Like you won't get a chance to take advantage of. Like I never knew anything about the startup world, like pitch competitions, I had no idea something like this existed until I got into, building a startup myself. And I'm like, what? Like people just giving out free money?
Do you think that's, do you believe in luck?
Luck? No. I believe in purpose. It happens because this is how it's supposed to happen. Not luck, though.
Do you think it takes something else to that equation for it to happen?
Dedication. I guess.
Because I'm sure it wasn't easy.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I've heard people saying like, oh, because you were lucky that this happened, or you were lucky that happened.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, for sure. I had a little bit of luck, but it was like 90% work. I'm a workaholic. If I tell you something, I'm gonna give you something tomorrow. It's gonna be there tomorrow. It doesn't matter how much work it takes. If I have to hire 30,000 people to do it, I'll do it. Like I'm a workaholic. I'm like that. It's like I don't mind not sleeping for a couple of days. So even though I shouldn't do that, but a lot of people think that just because you grew up a certain way, that there's not much you can do, right? A lot of parents put the wrong expectations on their kids.
That's what it is.
Like especially Hispanic parents, like starting a business for a Hispanic parent, it's like shut up, go get a job. Like go to school, get a degree, and go work for somebody else.
Yep.
And build their dream. I was a rebel, man. I was like, even though my parents are very supportive, at first they were like, yeah, not everybody gets to be a business owner.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets to do whatever they want. And then it's like, Mom, Dad, I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna start my own business.
Yeah.
They were like,
What are
sure,
you
you
doing?
think you know it all, whatever, doing whatever. And then It's like 4 years running, like living off of the business. They're like, yeah, we always knew.
Mm-hmm.
We always knew that you were going to make it. You always knew that you had it.
That is the truth,
It's
right?
like, really?
I always knew.
Have you ever had anybody doubt you and think that you're not?
Yes, like even to this day. Like I've had men who thought that the company was a great idea.
Right.
But the only way it would survive or it would be successful is if they were a part of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like something like that. I still get that. Like, so number one off bat, I'm a woman. I'm a black woman at that. So that, like, it's kind of like one of those issues
It's like,
to where
you're not supposed to own a business.
Exactly. Like, what are you doing? Like, who are you? Like, so,
Dang.
And
for
you're
me,
young.
yeah, definitely
That's a big one.
Don't get me started on older people. Like, why are they like this? I'm like, now this is one time that I did expect something. Where you step into a space and you start working with like an older generation because
Right.
it's government. Most of the people
course.
that work for the government are older people. They've
Yeah.
been there for 30, 40 years. And,
Right.
and change has not been the first thing on
They
their
hate
mind.
change.
Right? So for me to step into it and say, I got something new, something different. Like it was always basically
This kid. It's like, what is this kid thinking?
always want to do something new, something different. All this technology. Like,
Right.
eventually, you're not going to be working, and
course.
someone else is going to have to take care of
Yeah.
this. And someone like me is not going to do this paperwork thing
Right.
that you're doing. But you're not as like they're not as I have now. I will not say all of them. Like some of them have been more open to change and connecting, but that has been one of the things that I would say.
I think the most successful people, like people that help me a lot,
Mm-hmm.
they're successful because they're not greedy. They think that, hey, young kid with an idea, I'm gonna help them out.
Exactly.
It's
And
like that's what you have to
do.
think. You have to think like that.
You
You,
have
know, it's
to
like
do that.
you can't see us as competition. You've been doing this for 30 years.
Right.
I'm not
Like,
gonna get
I have
that.
nothing on you. I do not have the experience that you
Exactly.
have. That's why I'm coming to you for help.
Of
because I don't
course.
have that experience. But I mean, I eventually I accept it and I move on with it. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't take it as anything bad. I don't like if it's a no, it's a no. But I know that's not like no. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like no doesn't always mean no. I understand that now and I get that. So you know what I can do? You said no. That doesn't mean no. It just means not with you. So I'm gonna move on to somewhere else and get things going.
It's
so
not a personal thing.
yeah, it's never personal, and I don't take it personal at all.
What was okay? Hold on. I don't want to get to that question.
Okay.
Yet. Okay. So after you did all of this, you go into a competition, and then what happens?
So I won. That was the first big national competition that I've ever done, and it was with the Grace Hopper Grace Hopper celebration, sponsored by Anita Borg, AnitaB.org, which is Anita
Right.
Borg, and it was the first place, $25,000, and that really it pushed me, it motivated me, it gave me the opportunity, and sometimes, like I said, that's all people need, and it gave me that.
Right.
And it allowed me to build out the platform, and now that we've launched, I'm moving forward to sales now.
Right.
Going out to working with
Right.
different businesses, government agencies, and I feel like this is where I wanted to be for so long. Like it's a great place, so I'm very grateful for that.
How do you get started in that competition? How do you find out about it?
Researching. Yeah, I research all these pitch competitions.
That's the
and
dedication
everything.
part right there.
Yeah, no, I'm always, and I capitalize on who I am. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Yes, it's a disadvantage, but it's a good disadvantage when they have opportunities for you.
And you know when it's better? When you're smart and you know that it's a disadvantage
Yeah.
and you use it for your own
Exactly. So I mean, technique is not really a disadvantage.
benefit. Here's the thing. Okay, let's be realistic because we
It's
all
a
know
disadvantage, but it's
right.
it's a
But
disadvantage.
here's the thing that we know that there's a lot of people. We don't fit the profile of business owners or entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
Okay, now we do because it's getting a little bit easier for everybody, people like us, to be able to get there.
Exactly.
But there's always been this mentality of a certain demographic that is supposed to be the ones that run everything, that come up with the good ideas and all of this stuff, right?
Exactly.
We know that. So there might still be people out there that think otherwise.
Yeah,
it's like,
there are.
so what do we do? We teach them like, hey, look, not everybody, because 3 of my people messed up, that doesn't mean that I'm going to do the same. It's like, I'm me. Like, treat me as me. Like, forget about everybody else and what you know about people like me, And that's something that we have to put out there because there's people that still think like that.
Yeah.
And it's 2019 and still think like that,
Yeah.
That's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
we're gonna show them.
Yeah, I'm done taking it as a disadvantage. It's my advantage more than anything.
Of course, and there's a lot
I'm
of
quick
people.
to slap my cards
That's
out.
it.
Woman, veteran, black,
That's it.
So
It's
I
like-
use all of them when I'm searching for these pitch
You're the perfect
competitions.
combination.
Yeah,
That's it. So
it's
and,
my advantage.
and you know, it,
You're somebody's hero. You know that, right?
of
Okay.
you know
course.
what?
There's
I
probably a
love
lot
it.
of young black girls that think that they can't do what you do.
That's
Well,
what I was
yeah.
saying. Look, the victim mentality that I think a lot of people in our communities have is that, oh, you know, because I'm Hispanic, because I'm black, or because I'm a woman, I can't do it. Why am I gonna try?
Representation. They don't have it. They don't,
don't
see
have
it.
it. And
you
that's-
know?
and they look
you
up to
gotta
us.
be able to see people
Right.
to see that you can inspire to something. I feel like that's why President Obama was such a pivotal
Right.
step for, you know, minorities in general,
It was a big
but
change.
more of the black community. You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen so many people now taking on different roles
Right.
in politics.
Of course.
You know, taking on these big, like, bodacious
Right.
goals and making changes to actually change the world.
Right, and here's the thing that we're not talking about politics. Forget about like the
Okay.
actual. No.
Yeah,
Like
we
it's-
gonna done
no,
with
no,
it.
no. Actually, I love politics, but this is what I'm saying. We're talking about politics, but not about policy, okay? Because a lot of people will like disagree about certain things with
Mm-hmm. Of
certain
course.
precedents and all of that. I'm not talking about that. right?
Exactly.
We're
No,
talking
no, no.
about the idea of like, hey, a person can become a precedent, and they don't have to
Exactly.
look this way.
You see? And that means a lot.
Right.
It means a lot to a lot of people.
Of course, and that's something that we have to change. You know, it's like same thing with people in power, CEOs of companies.
Come on, like,
We've seen a lot of companies now having female CEOs.
yeah, they're starting to get that diversity.
Of course.
Yeah.
So
catching
that
up.
diversity is what makes a company grow because if everybody thinks the same way,
What are you doing?
what's going to happen? And here's the thing. I don't care whether you're Republican or Democrat.
course.
It doesn't matter. It's just we can have everybody thinking the same way.
For what? Because what would we accomplish at that point?
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's like, oh, if we had a Republican president, the country will be amazing. It's like, yes, but no. If we had a Democratic president, the country will be perfect. It's like, no, it doesn't work like that. We need to have a balance, right? And also that representation.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I saw that there's a lot of people running for president, and it's a good thing that we're seeing different faces.
Of course.
I think that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Now it's a matter of actually picking the right person.
Yeah.
So you win $25,000, and then what happens?
I use that to continue out development and start more of a marketing stretch. So I did that. I actually ended up rebranding because, like I said, throughout the process, you pivot a lot
Yeah.
more. You continuously pivot. So we started out with just being this huge, procurement platform. And
Right.
of course, that's something that has to continuously be developed. So we started out more and I was like, well, what's really missing? And I realized there's an issue with suppliers,
Right.
the diversity, the certification. So we started with those processes and we implemented those initially. So that's our first phase, like our second phase, phase 2. Phase 1 was basically setting up the small business side of it. And then this is phase 2. So now phase 2, we can sell. Phase 1,
Right.
we couldn't sell because it would have been a one-sided marketplace. So phase 2, now we're selling. Now we're focusing on reaching out to the supplier diversity team. So this also opens up another avenue for us to work with corporations because they have supplier diversity initiatives as well.
Of course.
Our focus is more about collaborative procurement. And allowing businesses and government agencies to work with small, local, minority, veteran-owned, woman-owned
Right.
businesses because we feel like that is where the impact comes
Of
from, right?
course.
You see impact at the local level when policies change.
Yeah.
Not so much as the federal level until
Right.
maybe a few years down the line.
Right.
So that's how, and also it affects the economy. So
Yeah.
that same money you're spending, all that tax money you're spending, you basically is going right back into the hands of the government because
Right.
you're working with your local, your small business
Right.
that's paying those same taxes.
I think
so.
small businesses are very important. That's
Yeah.
something we gotta support. We gotta start making sure that
Exactly.
we support small businesses. You're like that's money that stays in your community, and it helps the community grow.
That's it. That's it. While I was saying the supplier diversity side of it, supporting those community that they represent. For like,
Right.
if you think about, how families are being like fed, like
Right.
you're buying from a woman-owned business, you're feeding the family. You're
Of
buying from a
course.
black-owned business, you're feeding the black family.
Of
You know what I'm
course.
saying? And then it also helps them grow their businesses, and it'll reduce the number of businesses that start and stop. Why?
Right.
Because they're actually getting traction. They're
Exactly.
having funding, and they can pass this on to their kids. It's
Of
all
course.
about generational,
Of course.
creating opportunity for generational wealth for me. So,
What was the worst decision you ever made as an entrepreneur?
oh man, I feel like I've made so many of them. Let me think of the worst one though. I think the worst one would have to be not like an initial development, not creating something that I could monetize off of.
Right.
Because it would have allowed me to, like, I took some time off, a little bit, not so much time off. I was doing it part-time because I started working at Miami-Dade College's Idea Center because I needed some additional funding. And they had a Scale Up Miami program to grow small businesses, local Miami businesses.
I think it's perfect because you're learning.
Exactly. So I was that's another reason I took the job as well. It allowed me to learn and connect with other small business owners. And I did that for a while. But if I would have been monetizing before, I wouldn't have had to take time off at all.
Right.
Because I would have been making money,
running a business is a full-time and a half job.
Yeah. And doing it part-time, oh my God. I was up at like 3 a.m., like waking up early to get stuff done from 3 a.m. to like 8 a.m. And then at 8 a.m., I'll get on the road and drive down to Miami-Dade College to work.
And people think that it's like, oh, I'm my own boss. I do my own
What?
hours.
What
I
are
do
you
whatever
talking
I
about?
want. It's like, it sounds easy, but it's
Not the hours you want, I can tell you that. Like,
Yeah, you have more than one boss.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. What are your plans for the future?
Plans for the future is to continue to grow these small businesses and grow our platform, of course, to help these small businesses. And then it'll be expanding Govelier's scope as well. So continuously building upon the procurement side of our platform and branching out and working with another like group or target audience.
What do you think we can fix in the K through 12 education system to build more leaders?
Ooh, this is my favorite topic. So I feel like we need to do more, teach more real life, real world skills. You know, we need to talk more about entrepreneurship. We need to talk more about business ownership and different things, and also teaching them things that, you know, they actually have to learn, like writing a check, you know, how do I start a bank account? Like all of this type of stuff. I feel like you need to have these real world skills.
Taxes.
Oh, God. Taxes? I'm like, I feel like it's so much more that we can add on to teaching at school that'll help people in, you know, real life. Because sometimes, like, if you don't learn that stuff and you don't have that guidance, when you finish school, like, you know, it's so hard for you. Like, and when people get discouraged, guess what they do? They quit, you know? They get into, you know, they get into like a routine and they're content right there. I think we need to also encourage people to dream big, like think of the unimaginable, like, and also think outside of our bubble. You know, we have to, that's one of the things that I grew a lot from in the military, is because I was exposed to, you know, living in Japan, like, and going and experiencing different countries, my outlook on life changed, and that changed me as an individual overall. So it changes your perspective on life. I feel like it's so much stuff that we can teach you in the K through 12, but real life, real world, like experiences and stuff that you need to grow.
Right.
That's what we
The thing
need.
is that right now, the school system, it's kind of like a daycare.
Yep.
And even though the Miami superintendent, he's doing a great job in changing it up a little bit. But, you know, I feel like we can still do more as a community. Because right now it's just like, hey, keep my kid there while I go and make some money.
Exactly.
And I'm going to teach you a bunch of stuff that you're never going to use in life, that is not relevant or important anymore, but keep them busy there, you know, so that they don't go out and do drugs. That's what parents thinking, you know. It's like, that's what the school system think. It's like, yeah, we don't want him to join a gang or do drugs, so keep him there as long as you can and just give him useless information.
12 years.
How about we use that time to teach them how to be an adult, how to get them ready for the real world, especially now with all the technology and all this stuff, that before they used to have computer classes. I don't even know if they have that anymore. It's like, is that even necessary to have like computer classes, how to use Word?
That should be too. That
like,
should be necessary.
It's like, but I'm talking about, it should be like coding, not like how to turn on a computer.
No, yeah.
It's like, teach me how to code. Teach me. That sounds like a song.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Teach me how to code. No, anyways, teach me, you know, Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, all this stuff that by the time they get out of high school, they're there with the world. You know, it's like they don't have to like catch up.
Yeah, and it'll give them a way to make money too. You can create websites on the side.
Of course,
like.
but we don't teach that. You know what we think? We teach kids to go out, get a job.
And we need to teach them to make money now.
And I get it. It's like not everybody can be a leader. Not everybody can be a business owner.
And
we
that's
need people to do a 9 to 5. I understand all of that. But let's empower kids to be better.
Yeah.
You know, because the world is changing. And whatever. I know a lot of people don't like that McDonald's is using machines for people to make their orders. I know people don't like that. But it's like, that's where we're going.
Exactly.
Whether you like it or not, it's going to happen. Same thing with your platform might some people might be like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna be losing my job, or I'm gonna be, you're disrupting an industry, Same thing with us. We're disrupting an industry as well, with our startup, and people are not gonna like it, but other people are gonna benefit from it. And that's the world we live in today.
Exactly. You have to adapt.
You have to.
Yeah.
That one of the things that I keep on doing is bringing people to go speak at schools and be a part of the community.
Yes.
Because we need to change the mindset of all these kids are growing up thinking that that their futures have to be written by somebody else. It's like they have the power to do whatever they want in life, So we gotta go there and teach them. Like, even though we're not Bill Gates or or Tim Cook, but we can still make a difference and teach them. Like, hey, you don't have to go to law school. You don't have to be a doctor. Like, if you want to, go for it.
Yeah.
But you don't have to.
And also understanding that the path won't be the plan that you came up with the first time.
Of course, and teach them how to fail.
Yeah.
I think
so important.
Saying that failure, it's a bad thing. Like in school, for example, you
that.
fail an exam and it's like, oh, you failed. Oh man, I failed. I'm gonna go home and cry. It's like, hey, you failed, but let's try again.
Exactly.
It's like, because everything becomes, it's a grade. So the teachers don't teach kids like, hey, if you failed, maybe you need help.
Yeah.
I gotta dedicate more time to you. Like, they don't think about that.
Yeah.
All they think about, oh, your student's stupid. So,
remedial classes.
So we're gonna have to remove budgets from the school because the school didn't get a good grade.
Exactly. And I feel like that harms the school more than it. I feel like if a school gets a bad grade, they need more money.
Exactly.
Like that's a logical answer to that problem.
And teachers dedicate their lives to teach people.
I couldn't.
It's like, that's a job that we have to take care of that. We have to take care of them. It's like, these people are the ones teaching the future leaders. I'm so grateful for all my teachers. I go back to my high school, to my middle school, and I'm telling them, thank you. Like, thank you. You don't understand the impact that you had in my... I know to you I was probably just another student because you have thousands of students throughout the year. Remember when we saw my English teacher at Chipotle?
Yeah. She was so happy to talk to you.
I was like... She didn't remember me, right? Because at that time I was skinny.
Well, when she remembered who you were, she was really happy to talk to you.
And I told her, like, thank you so much for everything you did. And it's like, you made a big impact in my life.
Yeah.
Might be small if you think about it. It's like, oh, yeah, it was just for a year that I had her as a teacher.
Yeah.
But that added up, and every year that you have a different teacher, that's adding up to who you are today. But people don't think about that.
Yeah. No.
I remember all of their names, and every time I see them, I follow them. I have them on Facebook. Sometimes I go back to school just to say thank you. Like, forever, we have to be grateful, and we got to treat them right. And yeah, make sure
pay them right too.
Always, of course. Like, how can you be a teacher and not be able to afford having a normal lifestyle? It's like, it's stupid.
I feel like that's insane. You go to different places and you see how the teachers are treated there. Like, I was on a tour in Korea, and we got a chance to see like the kids in the school and interact with like their teachers and stuff. It's completely different, and I feel like we need to value it a lot more and treat it as the same. I like treat it as a prestigious thing because it is. You know what I'm saying? These are the same people that, like you said, impacting your kids' lives every single day.
Of course.
And you don't want just any old person doing that because eventually it's going to be so low, no one's going to want to do it.
Exactly.
And then guess what? Anybody can do it.
Exactly. And then that's what we have to make sure we treat them right. Just because a lot of them go above and beyond their paycheck.
Spend their own money.
It's not about the paycheck. It's about giving back. That's all they care about. You know, I remember in high school, Mr. Diaz, that forever, I will always be grateful for him. This guy will spend the summers, even though he's not getting paid to do this, like fixing stuff in the TV production program that they had. And man, I will be like, Mr. Diaz, I'll be there. He's like, no, you don't have to. Every summer I was there working, building computers, doing all this stuff. When a computer goes bad here in the office, I know how to fix it.
Wow.
When I needed to make a website.
That should have been a project.
When I needed to make a website, and that's the thing, we didn't get extra credit for it. We just saw him doing this, and we're like, hey, let's help him out.
Yeah.
This guy, it's amazing. He won Teacher of the Year, I think, a year ago, last year or the year before. Oh. And I think he deserved that a long time ago. We should have multiple Teachers of the Year. We should have 20 Teachers of the Year.
Exactly. It shouldn't just be one. Exactly.
Because a lot of them are really good, you know, and that's something we have to take care of. All right. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. And how can people follow you on social? Hold on.
On Instagram.
On Instagram.
All right, any social media.
All right, how can people follow you on social media?
Okay, so I'm pretty consistent across all social media platforms. You can go to Instagram and follow Govlia. That's Govlia. On Twitter, it's Govlia_. type in Gautreaux. We're the only one that's going to pop up. So regardless of what, you can follow us there. And that's it. Facebook, Gautreaux, same.
Make it easy, right?
Yeah, like I'm consistent, you know. And then our website is www.govlia.com.
So any business owners are interested in learning more,
yes,
go to the website and you give them more information there.
Mm-hmm. Sign up, create a profile, and it will be visible to a lot of other small businesses to connect with, as well as local government agencies.